Hello and welcome to CEO.CA. My name is James Patton, and today I'm joined by Brad Rourke, President and CEO of Scottie Resources. Brad, it's great to see you today.
Nice to see you as well, James. Thanks for having me.
So lots to talk about. Lots of news that's just come out, which we'll get to in just a moment. But I wonder if we could start with some background information for our viewers. Can you tell us a few key facts that retail investors should know about Scottie Resources?
Sure. So Scottie Resources is an exploration company, dominantly gold project at the moment. We operate out of Northwest British Columbia in a place called the Golden Triangle. We've got a total land package of almost 60,000 hectares, over 9 years of accumulating lands and 7 past producing mines. But our flagship property, where all the news is coming, is in and around the past producing Scottie gold mine. And then a newly found blueberry zone, of which has been coming up with great results for us over the last few years. So, even though all the focus is in around Scottie gold mine, we're a very large landowner in a very prospective area of the world that's getting a lot of attention these days.
Yeah, absolutely. A very exciting region to be exploring in. So since you spoke with CEO.CA back at Beaver Creek in September, there have been lots of exciting updates. Let's start with the drilling results. So you mentioned you've had some results out of the new blueberry zone. Can you walk us through some of the intercepts you've encountered?
Oh, wow. Where do I start? I mean, I think this year 15% of our holes were all over 100 gram meters, which is very, very exciting for us, especially when you see how farly spaced, how well spaced they are. We're not drilling close holes to other holes. It's hard for me to pick up which one was my favorite. I mean, sometimes the bigger numbers might not necessarily. I really like the C and D, which is actually not blueberry, which is the splay-off blueberry. Just because we had a little hint there last year, nice for intercept, and then you kind of, it's a work in progress. We're excited to get back at that. I mean, blueberry's been just fantastic. We drilled it down to 500 meters and found geology down at depth. That was very exciting for us, and just consistent. When you ask me for a result, it's pretty tough for me to come up with which one would be my favorite because they're all working together, and it is exceptional. So we've obviously garnered the attention of some very respectable players in the industry because of those results, and we're here today because of that.
Yeah. So I mean, let's talk about that. I mean, it is a nice problem to have, being spoiled for choice when you can't think of your favorite intercept because there's so many high-grade intercepts. But you said you've called the attention of some big players in the industry. So your recent news, the royalty agreement with Franco-Nevada, and you've also recently closed a private placement. So tell us a bit more about the work that went into those deals. How much runway does that give you? Where does it leave your cash position? And what's that relationship with Franco-Nevada going to look like?
Sure. Very, very. We've been working on this for a little while now. We've always, told the market that we have optionality, and the market being what it was, we reluctantly kind of said, well, maybe the royalty is the best thing for our shareholders. It's non-dilutive, and so we feel very blessed for that transaction to happen. Especially because we have no resource. We've not published a resource. And for Franco to come this far down the chain, it wasn't without a whole bunch of due diligence. And I've done 3 bought deals before, and they take a little bit of extra work than just doing a financing, but nothing compared to the work we had to do to bring Franco on. But again, it's great because it makes the company clean as a whistle and make sure all the T's are crossed and the I's are dotted. I'd like to point out, the market's been really tough, but, in the first quarter of 2024, we've had 3 events, Franco being the latest one of the news yesterday. But you're right, we did do a little financing earlier this year, and it was challenging. But, Ross Beatty took half of that financing and now is kind of in around that 5% owner of the company. That's big news for us. And then on top of that, Michael Gray and Agentis, they picked us up, which so all three of those events have happened here in the last 3 months. Our stock still hasn't reacted, but for us, those are validations that we're doing the right things, and so we're pleased. And when the market does turn, and we believe we are situated as good as any company that you could imagine for our weight class in our category. SCOT is going to be pouring doré in the next 4 weeks. That's a big win for them, and also for the area as well as for us. And you can see their equity, their share price is doing very well, defying gravity compared to a lot of other stories out there right now. And then, of course, Newcrest, or Newmont buying Newcrest, which is my other neighbor to the north. So couldn't be in a better place. We couldn't be happier with the geology, and then now the validation. So I'm sorry, I always give long answers to questions. So with the money, that we raised a couple months ago, and then the money the non-dilutive money that we just receiving from Franco, puts us in an enviable position where, after I pay every bill and all the commissions and all that, we're just under $13 million, $12.5 million in the treasury, no debts or no big payments coming at us. So I don't think we've actually had that much. This is probably our healthiest treasury we've ever had. And so that allows us to do what we've been doing for the last few years. I think the next couple of weeks, I'm going to just make sure everyone knows that we have the support from these wonderful entities, and then we'll give everybody a 2024 program and what exactly you can expect, because we're still working on that. There's a bunch of things that we need to do. We're going to go underground at Scottie this year. We've been wanting to do that for a couple of years, because the next thing is mineral resource. Everybody wants to know, when do we come out with a mineral resource? So one of the tasks that we need to do, and this financing will allow us to do, is go do some confirmation holes underground at Scottie. We've had the permits for a couple of years. It just costs a little bit more money, so we just been drilling the easy, lowest hanging fruit at Blueberry. So that's one of the tasks we'll get to, because we're at that stage now where the markets can want a resource. So that's what we'll be working towards. Of course, drill Blueberry, C and D, and some and some untested targets. We've the last 2 years, because it's been challenging, we've just focused on Blueberry because it was easiest. This year we're going to go, we're excited to go drill a few other targets with the same premises that helped us find Blueberry, or the C and D veins for that matter. So we're putting that together, and we'll have a 2024 program. What I can say is, we'll have more news, or we'll have, as much news, or if not more news than who you would compare me with. So I haven't got the exact amount of meters yet, but it'll be a meaningful program again this year, as they have been for the last couple.
Fantastic. Yeah, I mean, it sounds like you certainly are in an enviable position, I think, with that deal with Franco-Nevada. Not just the non-dilutive money coming into the treasury, but also, I'd imagine turning some heads when a company of that size really sees the value in the work that you're doing. And interesting to hear a bit more about that work that's being planned this year. I know that it's the 2024 work plan, like you said, is not fully finalized, but look forward to seeing the full plan when it comes out. I wanted to change focus just a little. You've touched on it being a very challenging period in the junior markets for explorers. We're seeing gold pushing 2,300 today, but the exploration sector, you're not seeing that same love and not seeing values increase. What do you think needs to happen for that value to be realized across the full chain? And is there anything that juniors and explorers can do to turn heads while markets are still performing poorly in this sector?
Very rarely do you see opportunities like this in the market. Now, I've been in the stock market for 35 years, had some big wins, some losses, all that. But when you see a disconnect, so I keep things simple, and every talking head, and we can make things complicated. But the way I look at it here is, you got a gold price that has even exceeded the smart guys and what we've decided. Everyone's been so cautious, and now here we are. The futures market is moving quite well, but the equities, the big bifurcation. So there's two things that can happen. Either gold's going down or equities are going up, and that's it. And that's all an investor has to make a decision on. and very rarely have I seen a disconnect such as this. So that should get people excited. And the fact that nobody's excited, that's blood on the streets, and even people within the industry. So I was at PDAC this year, and, gold hit that 2,200. And there was not a whoop in the air. Usually if that, you would have heard guys, yoo-hoo, I've been going to Roundup and PDAC for, 25 years, and nobody was even excited at 2,200. And I go, well, these are things that should excite us when everybody is, even guys in the industry are unenthused. Because, again, I look at central bank buying. Everybody has their own theories, but I mean, ever since the Basel III got implemented, the final stage, central banks have been able to value their gold at 100% rather than the 50%, which were the rules previously. And then you see everything outside of the G7, these central banks buying gold, protect themselves. And the retail market hasn't, the generalists aren't scared, but when fear hits that market, is that the catalyst? Because there's just too much value there. Even myself, I'm looking around and trying to place money and what little I have left after 10 years of doing this. But, no, I'm making some moves and I'm excited. I don't know, like 4 years ago, I was banging my fist on the table telling people to buy CNQ. That's the energy business. And no one would move. It was $15, $14. It's $107 today. That's a blue chip stock. We've got Newmont saying that they're only looking after tier one assets, really gushing about their BC assets. That's got to be good for us with SCOT going on. So I think it's fear that'll hit the market, and then that's what will spur maybe people to dip their toe in. Bitcoin 5 months ago has gone up 100% since then. So these things can happen. It's just sad. There's no enthusiasm and there's no fear, but hard assets, right? No leverage, and gold is going to play that role. And I haven't lost enthusiasm at all. It's been taking a lot longer than I ever would have imagined, but I think we'll see these majors move here pretty quick. You see developers right now are kind of defying logic where, like Ascot has gone from, a 38 cents to, I think they hit 80 cents today. I haven't looked in an hour or so, but these are good things for the area. And I'm really happy for them. So it'd be a matter of time. And when people have to sift through all these companies, because there's 1,000 guys like me out there trying to garner the attention and trying to, attract people's capital. But one of the things that with Scottie you should look at is we don't need to finance, and we're good for 2 years if we wanted to stretch it out for that matter. And we will dance to the tune that the market puts us out if there are windows open, and so we can adjust. But we're in no duress whatsoever. And so we have we'll still do all the work, but we can wait out that market if it takes another little bit of time. I suspect somewhere after the election, or maybe before, 2 months before the election. But that's just a guess, and I've been wrong on these things many times. But fundamentally, on the actual commodity, we've been dead right, and the equities will catch up.
Yeah, absolutely. I think a lot of people waiting for that valuation gap to close, and it is interesting that you mentioned that sentiment, even within the industry, was not particularly bullish, pushing 2,200, which yeah, you're right. I think for a lot of people spells an opportunity. Sounds like Scottie Resources is well positioned for when that does start to happen. Just wondering, is there anything that we haven't touched on? Anything you'd like to close up with? Anything the retail investor community at CEO.CA should know about Scottie?
I think there's a lot of great opportunities out there, not just Scottie. Scottie is a fantastic opportunity, and if a retail or the generalist really wants to do due diligence, every presentation we've ever done is on our website. You can, if you went and took a couple hours and actually dug in, you would see that every year we always accomplish what we said we were going to do the year before. Nothing's going to change. We're on to something. It's real. We're at this next stage, and obviously with the endorsement of Franco, They're not throwing around money. I mean, that technical exercise was very, very grueling, and more so for my team. But I mean, there was no stone unturned. They looked at everything, and for them to come down and give money to a non-resource, we have not published a resource yet, is unique, and they're technically very, very sound. So we feel blessed that they are recognizing the work that we've done, and has given us the ability to continue doing what we're doing, and so they've been great cheerleaders. And I go, eventually, with mills on either side of us, are we standalone, or is our ore? Remember, it's compatible with both Bruce Jack and the SCOT. We've done the metallurgical work. We're permitted, so it's a real easy dovetail for other mills, but also we haven't determined if we're not standalone yet. So there's a lot of unanswered questions. We'll just continue to do exactly what we've been doing year after year, and eventually the market will catch up to what we're doing.
Really strong stamp of approval that you're able to deliver every year on what you set out to achieve. And I think an even bigger stamp of approval with this recent Franco-Nevada deal. Brad, it was great chatting today. Look forward to hearing some more from Scottie Resources over the year to come.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. Oh, I can say one more thing as we close. I always remember at the end is the price point that we have at Scottie today for retail investors' benefit is about the same price as all my large shareholders are in. Like, there's nobody in front of anybody here. If you look back, we've been sideways basically for 5 years. But from a private placement point of view, we haven't destroyed money, which is, I keep hearing that, you should be happy. That's a win. But if you're looking at Eric Sprott or, Kevin Jennings, Conway, like very, very large name, Ross Beatty, all these people that have been supporting us, they're in at slightly, probably a penny more than what you can buy it in the market today. 21, 22 cents is what their cost base is. So you're not buying anybody's lunch from yesterday. Everybody's in around the same price. So that's a benefit. I mean, you're able to invest alongside some of these marquee names that know this business very well.
Yeah, I think that's a great note to end on, and I think a lot of people will take that as a positive indicator, and maybe will make them feel good that they're investing in the same price as the big names.
That's right.
All right. Thank you so much for joining us today, Brad. Great to catch you.
Appreciate it. Have yourself a great day.
Likewise.